You find yourself on this video because you are seeking more money, more freedom, more happiness. You want to be a successful poker player and live your dream life. But there's a problem. There's a big gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And the current version of you isn't closing the gap fast enough. Maybe you're even starting to doubt if it's still possible for you. I spent the last 7 years working with hundreds of poker players around the world and deconstructing what it actually takes to be a successful poker player. In this video, I want to share with you the 3 steps you need to take to achieve your biggest goals. Without all 3, you are guaranteed to fail. So let's dive in. Step 1, get clarity on what you want. If you don't know where you are going, you will end up somewhere else. Yogi Berra. This might sound obvious, but don't skip past this. This is your roadmap for what you want to achieve, what you want to experience, the life you want to live, and why it actually matters to you. Nobody can decide this for you. You have to get clear and laser focused on exactly what it is you want. What does being a successful poker player look like for you? For some of you, that will mean playing the highest stakes in your game. Others might want to travel the world and play the live circuit or be an online mid-stakes crusher. You are on your own unique path and you need to decide what that looks like. So many poker players I speak with only have a vague idea of what they actually want. They say they want to have more money, they want more freedom, or they want to play higher stakes, but they don't really know what that looks like. The more vague the destination, the more unclear the path to get you there. The more unclear the path, the less feedback that you are making progress. The less feedback, the more difficult it is to know you are on track, and the less opportunity to course correct if you strayed off the path. On the flip side, if you have a clear destination, then the path to get you there is more direct. If your actions are aligned with the goal, then you are making progress. If not, you are off course and you have the chance to get back on track. Unfortunately, most people haven't spent the time to sit down and really think about what it is they want. And as a result, they drift through life without ever fully committing. There is a level of intensity and consistency that you are only capable of accessing when you have a clear goal. So how do you get more clarity? You need to develop your self-awareness and think about the exact life you want to live. Here are some questions to get you thinking. What are the things that are most important to you? Why do they matter? What would your dream life look like? Why is it worth putting in the effort to make it real? These are tough questions to answer straight away, but they're so important to spend some time reflecting on. In my Poker Athlete program, we spend the first week on self-awareness and getting to know yourself on a deeper level. One of the best ways I've found to get more clarity is to understand your core values and to start to create a life in alignment with them. This seems very obvious to me now, but for a long time, I struggled to know what I wanted. I spent years in my 20s trying to make lots of money and achieve things, not realizing that it was growth that I actually valued. I wanted freedom, yet I spent 3 years grinding Supernova Elite Rakeback, which had me playing 10 hours a day, 6 days per week. I valued relationships, yet I rarely saw my friends. It led me to feel unfulfilled, and that something wasn't quite right, but I didn't know what. I was chasing the wrong things because I didn't have the self-awareness to know what I really wanted. Now I understand my core values are growth, health, relationships, freedom, and fun. When I think about the life I want to create for myself, it has to be in alignment with these values. I need to be doing something to grow most days, which is why I read every morning and I coach with smart people who get me to expand my ideas. I value my health, so I exercise every day, I eat nutritious foods, and I go for regular long walks. I spend regular time with my friends and my partner to make sure I nurture my relationships. Then there's freedom, which to me means the ability to choose how I spend my time and what I say yes to. I'm fortunate to have that luxury, and I'm mindful not to make choices that lead to less freedom. Finally, there's fun. I want to enjoy my life and have memorable experiences. When you know your values, they act as your North Star and make it easier to decide which goals you should be pursuing. So what is it that you actually want? And what are the 3 to 5 core values that you want to design your life around? Being a successful poker player is more than just a pretty graph and a high win rate. There is your whole life and accompanying lifestyle that goes with it that you need to get clear on. This is the first step. Once you've developed your self-awareness and you have clarity on what you want, you are ready for the next step. Step 2, decide who you need to become. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. George Bernard Shaw. Here's a hard-hitting fact. The current version of you isn't good enough to achieve your goals. There's a big gap between the success you want and the life you're living right now. And that's okay. You have to own that. However, there's also a version of you who can achieve everything you want in life. The high-stakes version of you who moves effortlessly towards your goals. Rather than getting stuck are overwhelmed by where you are right now, you need to get that 2.0 version of yourself so clear in your mind that in each moment, you can consciously choose to step into that version of yourself. An event I had which really highlighted the importance of this was back in 2019 when I went to a Tony Robbins event in Singapore called Unleash the Power Within. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Tony Robbins, he's a bit of a powerhouse in the personal development space. He commands attention and speaks with a lot of authority. On top of that, he's 6'6", so he towers over everybody. I'm in this exhibition center with around 8,000 people, and Tony Robbins is walking around doing his thing. He's going around the room, giving this presentation about the impact he's been able to make through his work. Then he said, "People think I can do this because I'm Tony Robbins, that I was born this way, and that I had these gifts. But they couldn't be further from the truth. Tony Robbins didn't exist. I constructed Tony Robbins. I created this motherfucker standing here." And I remember thinking, wow, that's so powerful. You need to construct that version of yourself that you want to be. You need to consciously decide who you need to become to achieve your goals. You don't just wake up in the morning and become a different version of yourself. There needs to be conscious intention. Then every day, you reinforce that identity with your actions until you become that version of yourself. This is called upgrading your identity, which is the highest level of change you can make. It got me thinking back to my own poker journey and how every time I had to move up stakes, I had to first upgrade my identity. I remember when I was playing $300 heads-up sit and goes and dreaming of one day being able to play 1Ks. I imagined myself as being a 1K regular and thinking what that would look like. I thought of myself holding the lobbies all day and being willing to battle anyone who came online. I saw myself as having high energy and focus, which gave me an edge on the competition. I had a strong mindset and could deal with any swings, and I was always working on my game to make sure I stayed ahead. After a few minutes of daydreaming, I snapped out of it and returned back to my current reality. And I realized if I ever wanted to make that happen, I had to step things up now. I had to start acting as if I was a 1K reg way before I actually got there. So I started playing more reg battles to sharpen my game. I would review each session and go over my study notes before I played that player again. I worked on my mindset and being able to handle variance better, knowing that in the future, I was going to have to experience even bigger swings. Then there were two things I noticed that I didn't yet have: the bankroll or the experience. With these, I just had to be patient. I knew I was on the right track. I was growing my bankroll and my skill level was improving. It was going to take a bit of time to get to the level I need to get to. It was actually a whole 12 months before I built my bankroll to where it needed to get to. So who do you want to become? What does that 2.0 version of you look like? Get specific. What time does he wake up? How does he spend his days? What habits does he have? Who does he hang out with? Who does he learn from? What mindset skills has he developed? When you have the version of yourself you want to become clear in your mind, life starts to get very interesting. In each moment, you have a decision to make. Act as your current identity and reinforce your familiar patterns, or act as your new identity and carve out new ways of showing up. Over time, the version of you who you choose to show up as becomes who you are. At first, your current identity has a strong pull on you that is hard to override. Your habits and behaviors have likely been reinforced for many years without much pushback. But every time you act as your new identity, you weaken that pull and carve out a new direction. Then there becomes a tipping point where your new identity gets so strong that it replaces your current identity. It's now who you are. You know this is true as you've probably proven it to yourself many times. Maybe you've developed the habit of exercising. At first you were maybe lazy or didn't have the motivation to go to the gym. Now you go to the gym 4 times a week, and to not go to the gym isn't even in your frame of reference. It's now who you are. Being healthy, being fit is part of your identity. Or maybe you've done this with your meditation habits, or maybe it's with being a good partner or a good father. You decide who you want to be, and then you just become that version of yourself. You act like that lens so much that it becomes who you are. Now you don't need discipline. Now you don't need work ethic. It's just part of your operating system. This takes time, so stay patient and stay committed. Most people don't realize that they can upgrade themselves in this way. They act unconsciously as their programmed self and repeat the same patterns and behaviors, which is why they end up stuck and can't achieve their goals. The way out is to consciously decide who you want to become and look for every opportunity to act as that version of yourself now. You don't have to win every battle. There'll be moments when you fall off and slip back into your old habits and routines. The key here is not to dwell on it and use this as an opportunity to recommit to acting as your new identity next time you're in that situation. Now, there's only one step left to take. Step 3, ruthlessly develop the character traits and skills you need. If you want to be a successful poker player, There are specific character traits and skills that you need to develop. If you want to be able to focus at an elite level, trust yourself and your intuition, deal with downswings, take on risk and overcome fears, have a strong mindset that can handle anything poker throws your way, then there are key skills that you need to develop. Having spent the last 7 years working with poker players and helping them to reach a higher level of performance, I've deconstructed what the most crucial skills are you need to develop and created a step-by-step framework for how to improve them. For the first time ever, I'm putting together a free live training where I teach you everything you need to know to achieve your poker goals. To join, just click on the link in the description and put in your email address to register. You will walk away from this training with clarity on who you need to become to achieve your goals, knowing which skills you personally need to level up, a framework for how to improve each skill, an opportunity to work with me for the rest of the year. This is a one-off live training I'm running. It's happening in a few days, so if you're interested, don't delay. Click below to register, and I look forward to seeing many of you there.